Yeah, very big welcome to you, my dear Aries. The sun is now in Taurus, giving the light to the moon, which is in your sign. And you're just coming out of the solar eclipse and the new moon. And we're going to the right again. The right is, of course, to go back out to the full moon, and you just been in the new moon, and so it's kind of like now I have to orient myself again outwards. I've done 6 months the spiritual work, and now I will do 6 months that extroverted human work. Here the fifth major arcana and the fourth major arcana. But when we see the Roman numbers, we have here a 5 minus a 1. So the Hierophant is somewhere here and guiding you and leading you. And usually the Emperor and the Hierophant worked together back then, right? The church was leading the Emperor, the King of Kings. And so it's really nice to see that they integrated that through the Roman numbers. Taurus means we're going now deeper into the roots, but also outwards, the triangle that's pointing upwards, and we reaching out into the world, ruled by Venus. And so this month we look at Venus, and Venus is ruling Libra and also the Empress. You are ruled by Mars, and Mars, of course, is the fighter. So Venus and Mars, the typical story of masculine and feminine, comes here together. You are the one that is actually starting a fight, right? Because it's just something deep within you that is wanting to break out, break free. And so here the triangle that's pointing up is actually showing that. The yoga position for the Hierophant is a movement. We are moving up to the information, and then information will come effortlessly down. And so this is what this card is literally giving you. It's a movement. It's not these two pillars anymore. You are the meditation, and in the meditation you're looking to the right, the left, and the up and the down, and find yourself then in the fifth dimension. So this just for today. This moment exists only once a year, and if we include the other planets, then this moment exists only once in your life. Here the Hierophant looks like this, and so here is the Hierophant depicted as well as a spiritual teacher and learning to understand the message behind it, connected here with Venus. And so this is out of your deck, the Hierophant. So back to the last reading. Like I said, you had the solar eclipse and the new moon. When the solar eclipse shows up in your reading, the message is clear. So in that reading, I remember there was clearly the sign of the solar eclipse talking to you, and it's beautiful because then I understand really clearly how all of this is functioning, right? Because I'm still learning. I mean, sometimes I'm knowing what I'm doing, and sometimes I feel like, what am I doing here, right? It really depends. It's certain days are clear, and certain days the message is not so clear, right? And so I like to think that I'm still a beginner in what I'm doing. Venus. For Venus, we're going to look here at the Inner Wise healing deck, and we have all different healing modalities, and it's connected with Venus, and we're going to have a look at what the card is wanting to tell you. The 176, so the 1, the magician, the 7, the emotional intelligence, and the 6, the self-love that is coming here to you. So these are the soul symbols for Maria Magdalena. And 176 is to give thanks. I thank the creation for every day that I live. I thank for yesterday, and I give thanks for today, and I give thanks for everything that will come. The one who understands his life's work will be grateful for life and their chores. So be grateful, right? This is what's coming through here. Be grateful what you have. Also remember what is your life's work, because through your life's work you can give thanks to anything that is coming to you and helping you to achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve. Now the 1 and the 7 creates the 8. The 8 and the 6 creates the 14. And the 14 is Sagittarius, is the Temperance, and then the 5 is left. So the Hierophant is coming in his way, bringing you the message, bringing you the information, bringing you hopefully also the movement, right? Because he is a movement. So we begin the reading. The Fool is saying, you just need to take action in one direction, in one way. And it's the Ace of Wands. And you see how the Fool is facing the left, the soul. And I think something here is literally teaching you now to understand that one action is important. The one here in the card, the one and only, which is the Magician, which is the inspiration. Get the inspiration and you know what to do. So this is the 1, and the 0 then becomes a 10. And the 10 is, of course, understanding that a new beginning is happening, a new cycle is beginning, because you had the solar eclipse and the new moon, and we were reading to the left, and now we're going to the right. Then speaks the Magician that came here through this healing card, through Maria Magdalena, through the gratefulness, comes the spiral. And the spiral is spinning inwards and outwards, and we have the 5. And the 5 again comes as the Hierophant that is teaching you to be a teacher, and the 5 that came here with the healing of being grateful, right? Or giving thanks. With the 1 we have the 6, and the 6 is then the Lovers, is Mercury, and the Magician is Mercury, bringing you the language, bringing you the information. And so the 6 is the healing in all of it, right? And so you understand here there is a 1 with the Magician next to it, right? So there's a 1, 1, and the 5. Just see, right, how the numbers are talking, how everything is communicating. And I wanted to see what the spiral brings, and the spiral brings you the 5 of Cups. And the 5 of Cups is connected with the constellation Mars in Scorpio, and Mars is your planet that is teaching you again and again to fight and to have this strength, right, to take on any project. But here it's a certain sadness, and Scorpio is the one that says, well, I lost these 3 cups, and so I cannot see that I can continue. And I think you are understanding that this now is a 5-5, right? And a 5-5 becomes a portal, and the 1 is left. But when we calculate it all together, we get an 11, and the 11 is the inner teacher that appears and understands very clearly that the 5 of Cups is a teaching, is a learning to understand your emotions, learning to understand what sadness is coming up here, and to work with it and to take one action after the other, so that you're not being sucked in to the sadness, right? That you are learning to live with it, that you're learning to work with it. And so that's why the Magician is here. The Magician is helping you to get not sucked in, but to learn from it and understand the wisdom that comes through it. Then speaks the High Priestess, and the High Priestess is saying, then you understand what real love means. Real love, here we see real action and real love. The Ace of Wands and the Ace of Cups, it's the masculine and the feminine. It's almost like there is now a spiral bringing you deeper within so that you can learn to love, to truly love, and go out at the same time and give this love to the people that you meet. The 2 and the 1 becomes the 3, and the 3 is the Empress, is the healing that we have looked at through Maria Magdalena, who is an Empress, right? For me, she is the ultimate Empress. She's a spiritual teacher, and she brings you the message to be grateful and to give thanks to everything that you have. Then speaks the Empress. The Empress is saying here Scorpio is coming, and Scorpio is the end. Scorpio is the biggest transformation, including death. And something is saying, well, here the true love that stays. With the 13 and the 3 you get the 16. The 16 is the Tower, and in the last reading that was the message. The Tower was coming, and you had the bunny, you had the rabbit, and the rabbit is sometimes afraid, right, is frozen, that he gets eaten up. And so here the 16 turns into a 7, and the 7 is of course the emotional intelligence. When we're emotional intelligence, then we know what to do with this love, and it's like you're going towards that, right? It's like you're still a little bit in that inward phase of what you've been doing for 6 months, but now you're learning to go out again. And so the 7, the emotional intelligence, knows what to do with the Ace of Cups. Then speaks Taurus. Taurus through the Hierophant, which is the Sun, and we get the 4 of Pentacles, and the 4 of Pentacles is connected with the Sun in Capricorn. And Capricorn is of course also an earth sign. Capricorn is the devil, is the attachment, or the being cut off from actually the source, right? And so the 4 and the 5 turns into a 9. The 9 is the Hermit, is Virgo, and there Mercury is ruling Virgo. You see that the information that is coming here through the Sun in Capricorn, that you may be holding on a little bit too dear to this life, right? To the life that you think is 4 and square and solid, and that you realize that 13 turns also into a 4. So you have a 4-4 portal here, but you also know that through the Empress, this is an energy that she knows how to let go, right? If she wants to give birth to the new creation, she needs to let go of the baby of her, otherwise the baby will die. And so the transformation and the giving birth is the same thing, and there is a certain stability that is letting you sometimes hold on to things, and you gotta learn to really let go. You gotta learn to not hold on, otherwise things or new things cannot come to you. Then the Queen of Wands is saying that you make a lot of money. You have the 10 of Pentacles, which is Mercury in Virgo, and the 1 and only wand, which is 11. The 11, the inner teacher, the inner knowledge, the wisdom is coming to know that you're making money. The 4 and the 10 is the 14. And you had the 14, and the 14 came here in calculating all the numbers together. The 14 is Sagittarius. The 14 is that you understand now that you're learning to integrate Taurus, right? And so the money that you are making is literally helping you now to establish yourself, to create whatever it is you want to create, because you're very creative, right? You are very open, you're very sexual, and you have a lot of great ideas. And so here comes a certain wealth to you that is really strong, because the 14 again turns into the 5, and the 5 is the Hierophant, or the banks, are the institutions that hold the money. And to play with it, it's really important that we learn that the 14 coins here turn into a 5. And so here the 10 and of course the 1, you have the wisdom to learn. Everything there is to learn about money and how to invest and how to multiply it. Then speaks Aries. And Aries is saying the Two of Pentacles is coming, and the Two of Pentacles here with 4 Pentacles, right? We have Jupiter in Capricorn and Sun in Capricorn. And so it's very interesting. In one way you're holding on, and another way you're learning also to play with this money. And so here you just have money. It's almost like you have right now money on your mind, and the 10 and the 4 and the 2 is altogether 16. 16 coins, and 16 is again the 16 that you got here with the Empress and with Scorpio. And it's really interesting because the 16 is the Tower, is of course the bunny or the rabbit that showed up and was actually afraid. And I think you let that go. I think you are like, okay, I do not want to be afraid of anything. I'm just gonna do what I have to do here. And the emotional intelligence is coming, right? Because we have 16 coins, and 16 coins is then the 7, and the emotional intelligence, like I said, is coming to you. You know what to do with all this money, right? Because it's money that needs to be used, right? It needs to be invested in good things, right? There are really interesting energies coming down in technology, but also in health, in lifestyle, in all sorts of categories, right? And I think you understand now that the 4 and the 2 creates the 6, and the 6 is the self-love. You finding a self-love, and you start playing with the money, and in that playfulness you learn to accept that sometimes duality brings you challenges, right? And so you are learning to play with it. So the 10 and the 2 is the 12, and the 12 is of course Pisces, which was the reading before you. And Pisces is always that I feel a certain love for what I do and how I do it, because the Knight of Cups, right? Pisces is like a lover. He's like a charmer, and he knows how to play with duality. And so the 12 here turns into a 3. But like I said, we have here altogether 16 pentacles, and that's the 7, the emotional intelligence. Then speaks the moon as the moon oracle or the dream oracle, and here you get the 27, the heart home, the compassion that is coming while you actually have all this money. Remember here in holding on, it's kind of a certain tradition to save some money, but also understand that you have a lot of money and that you can play with some parts of the money. And so here, a home, maybe you feel like buying a home, and the 2, the High Priestess, and the 7, the emotional intelligence creates the 9, and the 9 is the Hermit. Again, learning from deep within how to handle situations at home, with the people that you love. And you see it's like a face, 2 eyes, a nose, and a smiling face, right? And so the 18 turns into a 9, and so we have a 9-9 portal here, 2 times the 9. And I wanted to see what's going on here in the house, and you got the 9 of Cups reverse, right? And that's Jupiter in Pisces, and you have 1 cup here, so you actually have 10 cups when we calculate them all together. And 10 cups is Mars in Pisces. It's a very happy energy, it's a very happy moment in this house, but for some reason the 9 is coming reverse, and here you are all together at the spring, and you are playing and you're having fun and you're enjoying what you're doing here, but for some reason it's something is not fully connected here. Something is like letting you not enjoy this, right? And I don't know really what, right? It's almost like you have everything and then you get this, the luck card, right? And then it's like, yeah, you're not really, right? Maybe because you have the 5 of Cups, right? There's a certain sadness, and so the 5 and the 9 is again then the 14, and the 14 we got a few times, right? The 14 is Temperance, is Sagittarius. So just watch, the 5 is left. So the 5 is, like I said, the understanding that you be grateful, you be thankful, and the 5 is the Hierophant that is bringing you the spiritual information, is bringing you also certain stability, right? So do not push things too far, right? Because here's a father and a son and a dog talking, I think, about what they're gonna do next with all that money, right? They can enjoy. And so understand that the 3 times 9 is coming to you, and in the end the 9 is left. A completion, an inner understanding of how everything is working. Then speaks the sun that is in Taurus, and the sun is bringing you here the volcano, the power, the number 9. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 times the 9, right? And I see that you learning, I see that you understanding something about the fire that you have deep within you, because you have the 1, the ace, right, that came at the beginning. But you also have the Ace of Cups, so you know what real love means, right? The higher love, the spiritual love, and the spiritual action, right? That's what the Ace of Wands is. And here the 19 turns into a 10, the 10 and the 9, again the 19, you can then shine, like here this card is literally saying, right? Be that volcano, be that powerhouse. That's what Mars is, right? Mars is that enormous energy, that enormous strength, right? And push to do something. And so then the 10 is left, right? And the 10 is that new cycle. The 10 is knowing that a new energy begins, because you are going now back to the full moon. And so I wanted to see what is coming here with this explosion, with this volcano, and the Aries is coming. And Aries is facing to the right, and usually here in this deck this Aries is a little bit intense, is a little brutal. He is like a ruler, he's like the Roman Caesar, and he likes to destroy things. So be careful with your energy that you are not destroying things. And maybe that's why also here in the house all the energies are not as happy as we think they should be, right? So learn to understand how to control your energy, how to work with your energy, right? Because you cannot just explode. Yes, a volcano explodes, but a volcano doesn't have eyes, and he's just kind of like exploding. And you exploding very specifically, right? And so here the 4 is back, and we had the 10 and the 4. Again, we get Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is quite a fire sign too. He's the Knight of Wands, and sometimes he can be very intense. He can be really like this, explosive, right? And so the 5 again is left, the 5 that came here through the 14, and then the 5 was left. So be grateful. Start saying, I am grateful, I am thankful that I have what I have. And then the world is saying that you have the 5 of Wands, and you don't have any other wands, right? You have the 5 of Wands, and the 5 of Wands is playing with the wands. You have 1 wand, so you have 6 wands. 6 wands is the Lovers. 6 wands is again the 6 that came here in giving thanks, and the self-love is left, right? And here 5 of Wands is connected with Saturn in Leo, and Saturn is knowing that there are borders, knowing that there are rules, how to conduct and how to be. And so playing and testing out what you want to bring in this world is at the heart of this. It's like testing yourself, is testing yourself through others. Oh, they create a window. Well, I make a window like this one like this one in all different directions, right? And one is actually here at her sexuality. It's very funny, right? And it's like they all look different. And so the 5 and the 21 becomes the 26, and the 26 is the 8. The 8 that is letting you know that everything is constantly spinning. The 8 is the strength. The 8 is the 1 and the 7 calculate together. The 8, right? And so when we close the reading, you know now that you need to create your own. Whatever it is, don't compare yourself to others who have created also this window. You create your window, you create your thing, and the way you do it is going to be explosive. It's going to be great. People want it, right? Because it's the next generation, and the old generation doesn't want what you're creating, but the new generation wants what you create. And so don't compare yourself ever with others. And so the 6 ones is like, then you find self-love in what you're doing, distribute it, bring it out there, let people know that you're creating it, that you're producing it, and that you're making your money with it. And that's the spiral inwards, but also the spiral outwards that is bringing you away from this kind of sadness, right? A sadness where you think, oh, well, maybe I'm not good enough, or maybe what I'm producing, you know, exists already, so I don't know. No, you go and you do what you do, right? Because you came up here, and it is going into the 5 of Wands. It is saying you produce it, right? And the world wants it. Don't think about who in the world wants it. Just know that the world wants it, and then the infinite spiral is happening. The infinite knowing that everything comes and goes, and people create and then they end, and someone else creates and it ends, is at the heart of every endeavor, right? And so learn from your home. At home you can do these things, right? At home you understand what is necessary, what is needed, and you simply just create it. And then be grateful and thankful for it. I hope I see you in the next one. That's when we get Gemini. Gemini is here. The Lovers, the 6, Sun in Gemini is gonna give you an understanding of what's next. Until then, I thank you so much for being with me. Namaste.